Tonight we're using Rode and small rig to kind of make this all happen. I've got a brand new rig, gives me hands-free functionality and allows me to connect and put the phone up. Please, everybody, let me know what you think. That being said, we're going to talk about three of the best production cameras, period, in my opinion, for 26 at all. And we're going to start with the new King for entry level production, filmmaking. I mean, as someone who detests Canon, that's me, I detest Canon. I have to give props here. We're going to talk about one of the nicest and best cameras they've put out in a long, long, long time. So let's talk about this new one, the C50. So, looking at the C50, I have to admit, surprisingly enough, they've made a very, very great camera. First off, they stopped putting the price hike in the Canon cripple dollar amount. This is one of the hugest things, period, on this. Used to be Canon would make you pay an extra premium to have a cinema camera. They're not now. So, for example, this is only like 3,800 bucks. I couldn't believe it when it came out. 3,800 bucks, including the handle. It has a true high speed card, which is CF Express B. It has the SD cards. It has 4-channel audio. It has all intro recording, which is really important for when you're taking it to that next level. It has Canalog 2, which was like, okay, finally, the magic under $5,000 Canalog 2, which means you can do cinema work. XLR inputs, which means we can do interviews without having an external recorder and still have the fourth channel available, 3 and 4, for producer notes as we're going through a scene, which is really good. I love having producer's notes recorded in. I put a lavalier on producer sometimes just to get their thoughts. And we're at the end of a scene. Could you throw your thoughts in? And they just talk, and we just get that in there at the last moment. It's a cool technique. It works really good. XLR input. The only thing on this XLR input where they they cut corners was it's not a combo port. But other than that, it's great. So, for example, let me show you what a combo port is. This is a combo port. The port that's on that handle only has the three little holes, not the hole in the middle. And since it's not a combo port, that limits some of the inputs you can get, which means if you're at a live event and they have an older mixer board or the only channels they have available are going to be the quarter-inch ones, and that quarter-inch one, the quarter-inch to quarter-inch cable is the only cable they have, you have to get an adapter for XLR. That part's really not cool because not having that combo in there is a big no-no. Other than that, phenomenal. Sound quality is going to be great on it. The controls up there are really, really good on the handle. It's not a smart shoe on the top of the handle. It's a cold shoe, which is fine, but I would prefer to be a smart shoe. It does have quarter-inch inputs. It does not have the the 3/8 inputs, which we can deal with that. But when you're looking at this for mounting wise, it's going to do the job. The handle's really nice. It can handle the weight really well. The ports. Here's one of the things that's going to be annoying, but when we were testing it, the ports in the C50, those rubber covers, can get in your way, but you can pull them out and you can push them back in. The Canon rep, when we were at Kenmore Camera, said that's fine. I believe there's a way to reorder them if that piece pops out, but just be really careful when you're pulling them out because you can pop the ends off. So here's my recommendation: just take them off, and then get the covers that you can push into the hole slots. So you would have different slots that you can do. It does affect the weatherproofing, so I wouldn't expect to use it outside for anything like that. Thank you for joining in. So these are some of the things that make this Canon work really good. Now, when we're talking the recording codecs, this is where Canon finally put the camera into the area where it can be done on a daily production day. So, for example, if we're doing what we just did here was a Reign of Style in Seattle, we had one camera sitting up that was shooting for, I believe, 4 hours straight, and we were recording with that. Canon has the ability to give you a nice HD codecs or a 4K codecs that is deliverable on MPEG 4, that's ready to go for a client in regular color, which is nice. I'm loving this part. Makes life easy. Deliverables are quick. They're very easy to work with. You can run off SD, so you can literally just have the client buy an SD in the package, and we just deliver it at the end of the day. And I've done that many times where it's just like, here's your SD for the end of the day. Especially for the clients when you're coming in, if you're really like a solo person, you'll end up having some really, really good options there. Hold on just one second here. I'll be right back. I have to check something here. All right. Now, another piece in the C50 that I'm really, really liking is we get a better USB-C option. Now, the previous ones, it kind of sucked. If you've ever used them, you find that it does not give you good USB-C options for powering. I don't like that part, but I love the fact that they've updated it and made it to where it is compatible with more PD sources. So, for example, if you have one of the new batteries from Small or any of the other batteries, actually all the batteries out there that are V-mount that now have PD outputs for power into your camera, that is one phenomenal thing they changed on the Canon with the C50, and I'm loving this part. So for those who are thinking about getting the C50, this is a good way to go. Now, let's talk about the glaring issues. It does not have two high-speed slots. So what does that mean for you? What that means is if you are doing larger projects, when I say a larger project, I mean something that has a larger codex to it, and you want to film all day long, and say you start at 5 a.m. and you're going to end at like 8 p.m., and you're going to be, filming for a couple hours here, a couple hours there, catching B-roll, doing all this for a festival, and they want like superior quality, you're toast. You can't change the memory cards as quick. Not having two cards in there sucks. I can tell that from personal experience. Or you're stuck with buying 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, 4 terabyte, 5 terabyte, 4 terabyte, 8 terabyte cards, which you can still get, but it just kind of doesn't address the major issues. The other part is the Canon RAW is huge. I'm not really happy with the size of the Canon RAW for what you get for performance. And the last one is the open gate is not going to give you high frame rate. But that's okay. If you're just doing social media with a open gate on the C50 and you're not looking to do slow motion and you're doing interviews and things like that, I think the open gate's going to be great for you. I'm glad they put open gate in there because it stops the argument with a lot of people who are like, I need open gate or I don't need open gate. So that's another area they did good, but it's also one of the areas where I think they could have done better by giving you a higher frame rate. That being said, I think it's still the best open gate camera under $5,000. I think it's better than the Panasonic. I think it's better than the rest because they use an all intra format, which means you're going to get the best color, you're going to get the best color science, and you're just going to kill it. So your end result is going to be phenomenal. I just think they could have implemented a little bit different on that. Beyond that, the C50 is just going to be a killer workhorse camera. Canon has decided to undercut the next camera I'm going to bring up, and they did a great job on cutting it. There's a couple areas where they could have done better. The other small complaint I have is if you're doing 4-channel audio, you cannot do it off the handle, which means you get 2 channels of audio on the handle up there and 1 channel of audio, 2 channels of audio on the body, and that is really sucks. It's one or the other. It all being on the handle would have been better, in my opinion. But that being said, let's give praise to Canon where we give praise to Canon. They did a great job. I think they did a phenomenal job, and let's move forward. Now, the next camera on my list is going to be an oldie but goodie. And that oldie but goodie is going to be this one here. Sony FX3. Now, a lot of people say for 2026, this is going to be a crap camera. Well, let me Let me tell you what's going to make this camera great. Hold on just 1 second here. Everything okay, babe? All right, I'm back. Just had to check on something real quick. So one of the things that makes this camera effective, and the same thing with the Canon C50, is the ability to go all day long. Now, I didn't praise this on the Canon, so I'm going to stop for just a moment, switch back to the Canon, then we'll go back to the FX3. Thank you, Canon, for fixing your fan issue in both the sound level that came out of it and its ability to last all day long. So far, what we've seen, we still haven't hit 90-degree weather here yet. Once we hit 90-degree weather, I will answer the question of 90-degree, but great job, Canon. Now back to the FX3. Powerhouse workhorse, straight up. Here is the major advantage of the Sony camera, even in 2026. Live broadcasting. There is not a better camera under $5,000 that is interchangeable lenses that has this the things that they implemented last year was crazy. And once again, I got to go pop back to the C50 to explain this. The C50 here can stream to YouTube and RTMP. That is phenomenal. But what this can do, whole nother level. The FX3 can stream to YouTube, any RTMP, and then if you get one of these phone calls and they say, I have SRT information I need to give you with baud rate, this, that, other. I just need one camera from this angle over here. Can you bring it in for me? The answer is absolutely yes, because Sony implemented that in the FX3. Their update is based on broadcasting and based on the apps. The other thing is the app on this is just absolutely amazing. I did not think that they could make hardware working with an app change what a camera is. And they did with this. The FX3 and almost all the Sony's A7 IV and forward have a brand new app with them with a monitor control and a bunch of other features, working especially with Apple, that has turned these things into ridiculous powerhouses. Canon can run like 4 cameras off their app. Maybe I think it's 8 max. Sony, from an M4 or higher chipped Apple laptop or computer, can run 20 cameras remotely with one operator, like a every time synced, color monitoring, all of it, recording the whole works. So if we're doing an event and we're recording it and we've got MMA fighters, we got this here, we got like 8 different looks in the ring, we can start recording it once. If we've got people in the back and we've setting up interviews, the person can control each one of those cameras separately, can just literally be on their mics and just telling people what to do, get the interviews ready. We're going to start recording that and recording it, monitoring it. This changes the whole entire time, the frame of doing a large event. And especially if you've got a well-deployed network system, oh my goodness, that is just monster. So if you haven't been working with network systems before, this is where the Sony one and this features here just send it into the next freaking level. So if you have access points that are floating all over the place that you deployed yourself, that have, wired into access points, wired into another access point, wired into another access point, you can control a set of cameras in one room and another set of cameras in another room, another set of cameras in another room, and the bandwidth you've got is in your own personal bandwidth, and now you're good. That part's just unbelievable. You don't lose. And that's one of the things that really surprised me with the FX3, with the update they did. Now, rolling shutter. Well, it's still one of the best rolling shutter cameras, period, out there. Thank you for the like, period, out there, all the way around. Another piece, as they've updated and done a few things, thank you, Nikki, as they've done a couple of things that have changed it, they've kept the audio 24-bit, 4-channel, with all the control on the handle, with Thank you. With combo ports and all the controls up there. It's unbelievable what you can do with the codecs. They've also gave you an all intra codecs that's not super large. So a lot of us worry about size of, good codecs versus raw and everything else. 600 megabits at 60 frames per second with S-Log 3, your choice of Cine Gamut or just 3 Gamut, Gamut 3, puts you in a very easy category for deliverables to clients and high end, which is nice. You also have a raw output. I like the fact you can go to the Atomos and have raw out there. The monitor control app giving you anamorphic lens control, giving you record control. You can do it from iPad, your cell phone, or a laptop. This is game changing. If you've ever done an interview and you wanted to make sure that the skin tone was correct, you wanted to make sure your framing was correct, everything else, and then you have to sit down and ask questions, being able to just have your phone up and just go and look at it and go, this is perfect, and change over to your questions and just ask the questions and hold the conversation, phenomenal. It's nothing. There's nothing like doing that. And if you've got an iPad and you've got 2 cameras in there or 3 cameras and just hit start on one, it's game changing. There's just nothing like that ever. It changes everything for you. I also like the fact that the 4 channels is in the handle. See, the handle has all 4 channels in it. That's phenomenal. You can't beat that. That's great. The ports are great. Here's where we're going to talk about some crazy things about the FX3 that a lot of people don't know. Heat management. I have put this out on Seattle's Pure 62. The FX30, which has the same one as the FX3 setting. I've had it out on Pure 62 on a 90-degree day, no umbrella, live streaming it for about 4 hours straight, with it going out to an Atomos monitor that was also recording 4K 60. It's mind blowing that this didn't get overheated because I was just testing it to see if it will. That's heat management is just beyond belief. That's what sets it apart. Microphones, everything else, easy part. We've all been doing this. Easy switch handle up there. The lens selection is enormous. It is an older camera. It did go up in price. It is frustrating that it went up in price. Like when I say it's frustrating, what do you mean by game and mind blown? I'm a little bit confused on that, Nikki. You'll have to explain that one a little bit more. Um, it's mind blowing the heat management on this. I have had so many cameras overheat over the years, and this one won't. Yeah, the heat management. Yeah, I got you. That part's that part is mind blowing. You would not think that this heat management would be like this, but it is. So we're just gonna. All right, sorry, I got distracted there for a second. Well, that's it on the FX3. Now, the last camera we're going to talk about is a new one in it. It's a brand new camera to our arsenal. We'll be using it alongside large lenses, and we're going to talk about what this is with large lenses with other cameras. But we're going to be bringing out a beast. Now, if you have the money and you're looking to build your production company and you're looking to have the best overall, in my opinion, camera to add to your arsenal for the next 5 years, it's going to be this next camera. Now, there's going to be some caveats. There's going to be some work you're going to have to do in post production, and you're just going to have to let the clients know that there's going to be a tiny bit of post production work. You may need to build this in your pricing, but this next camera will make you bulletproof for the next few years. And if you're utilizing it in their ecosystem, you will be bulletproof. Like literally, you could end your day with a SSD drive and ATEM device and be off the charts, especially if it's a live event. Let's talk about the beast that is going to change the industry. Pix's 12K. Simply put, this is the new beast production camera, period. It will keep you up to date for the next 8 years, in my opinion, 5 to 8 years. You will have the best 4K camera in the market, the best 8K camera in the market. I can't say the best 12K, but I can say the best 8K and best 4K in the market. And let me tell you a couple reasons why. Number one, they're about to implement an autofocus system in this that's going to come close to Panasonic's autofocus, which means it will compete. That is phenomenal, as long as you get the L mount. You have two memory card slots. They're CF Express Type B, which means you have memory up the yin yang and backup memory, so you'll never run out of memory for an event. It has easy implementation for memory for clients, so they're just going to have a post-production team handle everything. They just want you to capture. You can use an SSD with a USB-C. End of day, 2 terabyte, 4 terabyte. Just have the client buy it. You plug it in, you mount it, you unmount it, you hand it to the client, and you are done for the day. That's awesome. If you're looking to do event coverage, and a lot of that is just going to be HD event coverage, which sounds really weird to have a 4K doing HD. You get a great HD signal, 4K signal, or 8K signal, or 12K signal, going to an ATEM, be it any one of the ISOs. Any ISO it is. Doesn't matter which one it is. It could be the ISO Pro, Extreme, whatever ISO one you have. It could be the HD board ISO. You get a beautiful timeline that's built out for DaVinci Resolve, which can also be read in other timeline sources, a full video in MPEG-4 that is ready to deliver immediately. So the SSD, you can pull the raw off the camera and a finished product off of the ATEM and hand it to the client, which I've done many times, and say, thank you, and your day is done. You're not running to figure out how you're going to upload data. You're not putting hours into extra shit you don't need to put hours into. That part is just plain ass amazing. Now, we start getting into the other shit. This has the ability to have both this eyepiece on it, its own touchscreen monitor on it. It's going to be working with a bunch of other touchscreens for protocol, which they've already talked about releasing it. It works with the L-mount glass, which if you really just want to be a beast about it, you can get some of the most beautiful L-mount glass from Sigma that covers the 10 millimeter to 24 millimeter, the 16 millimeter, the 36 millimeter, the 24 to 105 f2.8, which is just freaking insane. So that just covers everything. You got your sports lenses, you got your long lenses, all with this package. So you can end up with 3 or 4 of these, and you're covering an event with ease and with all L mounts, all automatic focus, and you can control that focus from a computer where you're at. This part is insane. You literally can have the cam op just getting the shots you want, and if you want a specific focus, you can control that from the computer. If you want a specific color, you can control that from the computer. The app that's on this, the ecosystem behind this is crazy. This also works with their replay systems. This also works with their app, their wireless app. This also works with their live streaming and production and broadcasting system. This camera is absolutely insane. And I haven't even got to the really cool part. The cool part is the network system that this is designed for with the new protocol. Now, for those who don't know broadcasting as much, you look at broadcasting as like the live streams and the other pieces, but I'm talking like the hardware backside of it. I'm not talking about the front side. I'm talking about the backside when we're talking about hardware. A lot of places are moving to a network based wiring system and integration, which is phenomenal. It should have always been that way, but it's just getting there now because all of the stuff is now available, which is freaking awesome. And there's a new protocol called P2110. Now, the protocol for P2110 allows you to do a lot of audio and video over Ethernet. And it is one of those areas that Blackmagic has been building around, which means literally you can run one Ethernet cord to the stage, run a couple cameras and monitors. And so you can run two of these cameras and maybe some monitors, and you would have full control of that. And then you can run Ethernet cables out to a couple different areas where you got your other cameras, and they're going to be running those. It's just an Ethernet cable. Now, if you've ever done live production, all those cables running for audio and video suck. Those SDI cables are a pain in the ass. Being able to run an Ethernet network system through there is great. Even better, if you're setting up a permanent studio, you can have these set up with full control from the Blackmagic app and control every fucking thing. Good night, Nikki. This is where it just becomes insane. This 12K camera is nuts because of that. So that's all a network system that's ran through Ethernet. So you would build out a box that has, 10 terabit or whatever it happens to have, and that would be running those cameras and getting the video to you, which sets it apart. Having a P2110, you're going to be able to do larger and larger events, so you can scale small and move yourself into like auditorium events and other things, and this camera will grow with it. We haven't even talked about box lenses and all the rest, which do work with this camera. We also have another big thing on this camera. Speaking of digital technology, they are the only camera that I have seen that does this in this high level, $6,000 to $12,000 level with changing resolution. Now let's talk about this for a moment. When you change resolution on most cameras, it changes it from full frame to Super 35 to Super 18 to Super 8. That's just what happens with these high-end cameras. A lot of times people will just change resolution in post versus, reframing in post versus doing the rest. I mean, if they know the timeline is going to be an HD timeline or a 4K timeline, they will reframe it later. They'll put framing guards in place on their shots so they know what it should be when they go into post-production. And I've done that myself because I know I want to keep all the resolution and I'd rather do the post-production work to do the cropping in. And so I just get the shot I want that way. Not very difficult to do, but not having to add that into your workflow and just being able to go from 12K to 8K to 4K and keep all your resolution the same, that is phenomenal. You're framing the same. Let me explain this to you real quick. Normally, when you go from 4K to 12K, or 12K to 4K, you would go down from a full frame, or a large format, to a Super 16. If you're lucky, say the Super 35. And that's the equivalent of going down to a 1-inch sensor on a big 12K piece. I have no idea how to put this in any other terms, but this is crazy good for you. You get the best options. What? All right. That's crazy. So that's where this camera just gets nuts. There you go, honey. All right. So now back to more about this camera and why I think it's just the killer camera you're going to have for a few years. The last little bit, and this may be boring to some people, but if you are looking at having something that will scale with you down the road as we go up in resolution, this will do it. And scaling in social media and OpenGate, this will Do it. It'll give you high frame rate. It'll give you it in 4K. It'll give you an 8K. It will not give it to you in 12K, and it will work. Now there is a caveat. It is a slower readout due to the CPU in the system, not the sensor, um, versus the Ursa 12K. So that's going to be one of the things you got to be aware of is readout speeds. You'll want to stick with the 4K or the 8K versus going to the 12K if you have any large movement and speed movement with this camera in OpenGate. Other than that, everything else can look great. Everything else is going to come out phenomenal, and you're going to enjoy this. Now they will be putting the ProRes RAW in here. They will be giving you the light. They will be giving you the Black Magic RAW. And then if you need to do an MPEG-4 format, that sucks. You'll have to generate one yourself. The proxy file they give you with this is crap. It's a great file for if you're just trying to have a proxy file, but it's not good for delivering to a client, especially if you're doing MPEG-4 quick delivery. But we're going to go back to another solution to this. A lot of times, if we're doing interviews, I believe so. You read it, right? I hope you did. What? I love you, babe, but I'm literally. Okay. Hmm. But sorry about that. Got distracted here a second. Oh yeah, one of the things we do sometimes when we're being mobile, and this works out really well. If you need to deliver an MPEG-4, but they also want a high data bit rate for regular, and it's just going to be something to do for interviews and things like that. You want to capture all the materials. One thing I have done, which may sound crazy, but has worked really well when we had our facility in Bellevue, was I would have a 2 angle or 3 angle interview and record high format on the camera, but I record the MPEG-4 on an 810 ISO and delivered all the footage that way with the audio tracks and everything matched with it and everything synced up. It worked really well. And considering that you could put a battery connected to it with a D-tap to the ATEM if you want to, it's an easy solution to powering it and having it work and delivering stuff in a very unique way. A lot of times when you're a one-man crew or two-man crew or three-man crew in a situation where you need to have 5 people there, you got to get creative. And that's one of the things I've learned to do is get creative running with smaller and smaller teams. And it's allowed me to push the limits of what we can do with these cameras. And I love the fact that Blackmagic gives you a lot of options with that. Now let's review the cameras and let's talk about the strengths and weaknesses of the cameras that we were talking about tonight. First and foremost, let's bring back the new beast. For those who are looking for a camera under $4,000 before you buy a lens, have Canon RF glass or are willing to adapt any glass to it or manual glass, C50 is a really good option. You'll get 4-channel audio, you'll get XLR audio, but you will not get combo ports. Remember, combo ports are these. They do not have the combo ports with a little slot in the middle. They just have the tiny slots on the side, which limits some of the things you can do depending on the live event you're at. Everything else should be pretty cool. I think it's a great camera. It's got live streaming capabilities directly from it. So you can hook up the Wi-Fi and do live streaming directly from it to YouTube, which is going to be a big, big broadcasting thing in the future. I think that is great. Next on the list is going to be the FX3 industry standard camera. They've added a whole bunch of streaming and extra shit to it that makes it go even further and better than all you would believe. And that's just sets it apart. It really just SRT. If you don't know what that is, look up SRT when it comes to live streaming and look it up for like sports, look it up for professional work. SRT live streaming and broadcasting. Once you know what that SRT feature is that Sony just implemented in a lot of their cameras, including the FX3, you will understand why the FX3 is still going to be and stay in the running for a camera that works and is solid, period. It is what it is. It's an old camera, but it's just unbelievable that they keep updating the software side of this to the way they have. Other than that, I mean, it's just Sony. Solid, works hard, workhorse. And the last camera we're going to talk about today again in this continuum is the Pixel series, especially the 12K. We got 4 things we got to say that sets it apart. No cropping in on the sensor by changing resolutions from 12K, 8K, or 4K. There is a crop on 9K. I don't understand why, but there is. But there's no crop on 12K, 8K, or 4K, which is phenomenal, making it one of the best 4K cameras you can buy right now for resolution and what you can do color-wise for it. 2, broadcasting networking systems with the P2110 protocol built into this camera. Insane. You'll have to look it up, but the P2110 profile and feature sets this camera so far apart from other cameras that are out there, it's absolutely insane. Memory options. SSD. USB-C SSDs. I mean, what more can I say? Drop off with a client that day. Easy. Dual slots of Type B, which is awesome. And finally and foremost on that part, it's easy to access memory. A lot of options there. L mount and autofocus. They're finally there, and they're going to match pretty close to Panasonic once they get rid of the beta section. And then the ability to ramp it up from small production to gigantic production sets it apart. All right, we're going to call it a night. Subscribe, follow, add on, do all the stuff. Much appreciated for those who watched. Though Nikki, as usual, always does great comments. And everybody have a good night. Peace.